Welcome to the Wood and Work podcast. Today, I'm your host, it's Paul from JCR Builds in the UK. Please don't forget to go leave me a review on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you listen to this, leave me a review because I need that to bump me up the ratings so I listen more so I can finally make some money or at least cover my costs for doing this podcast because it costs me a fortune every single month. So, don't forget to check us out on social media. You can get hold of me on Instagram via my own account or the Wood Work Instagram page. We're on Facebook and other social medias. So today we are joined by Dave from 3D DIY Dave on Instagram. That's what he's known now. Dave, thank you for joining me. Could you just introduce yourself to our listeners for those who don't know who you are?
Well, hi everyone. Thanks for having me on the show. As the intro, my name is Dave. I'm a maker from New York. I'm a content creator. I do a lot of 3D printing and woodworking. I'm a fan of collecting tools, a big enthusiast of anything making. I try to have fun with making content and, you know, bring funny things to every day to things for every day to see. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so I mean, I came across your profile. It was only a few months ago, to be honest, because very much like I came across Luke in the garage, and obviously we had Luke on a few weeks ago, and obviously because you've done some collaborations with him for like the Makers, I forgot what it was called now.
The Maker collab, yeah.
The Maker collab, and you've done that really cool X-wing.
Yeah.
So obviously I wanted to get your side on that story, but I have had a question that's come in, and apparently, what is it about your feet?
What is it about my feet?
Yeah, apparently I've got to ask you about your
feet. So I have very, very flat feet. And I showed it once. So my workshop at home, let's start there, is a basement workshop where I have all my 3D printing stuff. And then I have a garage that is attached to my house. And the floors are done very nicely. And I keep my shop very, very clean. And often I walk into my shop barefoot when I'm not working on it. If I'm working, I'm wearing shoes. But sometimes when I'm filming, finished projects and stuff, I'm in my slippers, I'm in my feet, and my feet have become a topic of conversation whenever people see it. They're all the all the ridiculous, funny things that people will comment about. When I'm going to set up my OnlyFans for my feet, but also my feet are pretty unique because I have very, very flat feet, and then I kind of at some point in a couple of posts here and there, I've showed a talent I have with my feet where, people can make farting noises under their armpits when they put their hands, they cup it. So I can actually do that with my feet on flat tiles. Like if it's like wet enough.
I know. Yeah,
you kind of like make
the suction effect for your
right
foot onto the tile.
Yeah, because it's so flat that it actually can create that pocket. It's a weird thing, but now whenever my feet do come in, there's at least 4 or 5 comments in my reel of the feet.
So I knew nothing about it, but you can guess exactly who that question came from, can't you?
Oh yeah, it's probably Luke or something.
Luke,
yeah, it's probably. Yeah.
So as you said about you're big into your 3D printing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I know that you've got a bamboo because obviously I've seen that with some of the things that you do with Luke. Well, things you've done with Luke and also on your own page. What other printers do you have?
I mean, I just recently became a partner with Bamboo Labs, so I have their X1, I have their Mini. Before that, I was always a big fan of Prusa, so I had, the Prusa Mark II all the way up to the Mark IV. So I recently did an upgrade kit for the Mark IV. I still have on my shelf the Prusa Mini, and then the MK 3.5S with the MMU2S. That I kind of like half retired. It's sitting on the shelf, so if I ever need to like have all the printers going, I can kind of bring it out, put it out, and set it up. I also have the Prusa XL, and then I have a Raise 3D Pro 2 Plus. Now that one is like the really large one. In my stories recently, I had been repairing it. I swapped the nozzle on it and ended up putting the wires incorrectly with a thermistor to the heating element, the thermistor. My mistake. Blew out my motion board. A couple $100 to fix it. Those are by FDM printers, and for resin printers, I have a Shining 3D L4K. It's kind of like a more of industrial resin printer, and then I got that one from my sponsorship with them. And then most recently, just within the last like 4 or 5 days, I acquired the new Anycubic. This is a mouthful. It's the Anycubic Photon Mono M5S Pro.
Yeah, I've seen that on social.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a long-winded title, isn't it?
It is. Well, the thing with Anycubic is that their numbering, like naming convention is short, and then as they upgrade, they add. So it originally was the Mono 5. It was the Mono 5S, and now it's the Mono 5S Pro. But when the new printer comes out, it's just going to be the Mono 6, right? So
and that'll be Mono 6 Pro, Mono 6 blah blah blah.
Yeah.
As you do the upgrade, yeah.
But right now it's at the longest naming convention. But it's a cool printer, and I'm just playing with it and learning it, and it's fun. So, I mean, for me, when I first started, I was more coming from the 3D printing community side, and I started doing woodworking, and I was like the advocate person pushing 3D printing for everyone in the community to have it. But what's awesome now is like everyone in the community has it, so it's both awesome and also like not so special that I do 3D stuff anymore. But I'm for it. Like this, I believe that everyone, not even makers, like just regular mom and pop people should have 3D printers in their homes.
I've been trying to tell my brother-in-law that he should. Cause I mean, I started off with Enders and I had Ender 3s for. I've had them for several years now. And just like yourself, I mean, going back 20 years ago when I was a kid, like, you'd be like, well, it's more than 20, 30 years ago when I was a kid, like, and it was like, 3D printing was like unheard of. You had to be rich to have a 3D printer, didn't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, these days now, I mean, the problem with the Enders are, when they ship the bed, they ship the beds. And you can spend weeks trying to sort it out and tweak it, but it's a budget printer, do you know what I mean? $100, they're only cheap. Yeah. I mean, I love my Enders, don't get me wrong.
But what was it like when you went from the Ender to the Bamboo?
It's boring. The Bamboos are so goddamn boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an issue with one of the hot and I got given with the printer was faulty, and they wouldn't have it. It's cocked up within under 2 kilograms of filament, and they wouldn't have it. And that's buy a new one, which I was very annoyed with Bamboo at, to be honest.
Okay.
But anyway, other than that, it's boring. They're just so boring. You literally import the program.
Yeah. The
slicer goes, oh, there's a problem here with your file. Click here and repair it. It repairs it for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Print. Oh, is that all I have to do now?
Yeah.
Just come back in 2 hours.
Do you like drama in your life? Are you someone who likes drama?
I mean, I enjoyed the reason I like the Enders so much is all the tinkering and the messing around.
Yeah.
But the good thing about that is I understand the 3D printers.
Yeah.
I understand, well, FDM at least.
Sure.
So it gave me a good basis. But yeah, the Bamboos, phenomenal printers.
Right. So I do understand the love of tinkering, right? Because that's why I I love Prusas, because Prusas you had to build them, from like literally the bolts, putting it in to bring it to what it is. And then what's great about them is that like so I had the MK3, and when the MK4 came out, you could buy the upgrade kit and then just take the machine parts you need from the old one and make it into the new one. And you could see all the little changes that they do to get it to where it is. And I think that, eventually Prusa will make a printer that will compete well with the Bamboo. They're just very slow. They're operating on a more kind of like startup kind of feeling, whereas Bamboo just came in and just industrialized it.
Yeah.
But do you know about the Vorons out there, those printers?
I've sort of come across them, but I mean, I'm not I'm only really getting into my 3D printing, like really getting into it now.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but with the bamboo, I mean, I've been trying to tell my brother-in-law because he didn't want to get the Amdet because when they go wrong, you can spend hours trying to sort them out. They're not as reliable. Obviously, the bamboos are. So I've tried to get them to get one of the A1s, the new A1 minis, or the A1 with the AMS type unit, type thing. Because I mean, for what £400-500 dollars, whatever, out the box to produce that technology is incredible.
It
And
is.
all the little boxes, like the little engineering kits that Bamboo do, I think they're absolutely fabulous. And I think that Bamboo have more than scored a home run on this.
Yeah, they're really thinking about all the details. You know, they're not just putting out great printers. They're putting out a whole ecosystem that works very well. I mean, there are criticisms online about how much we can't change firmware. I think that's the biggest conversation in the last week or two. There are some third-party firmwares are coming out. People want to backroll firmware, or that they don't. It's not open source. But the thing is it's like this is the era where I think like PC and Mac, Android and iPhone is that Bamboo is taking that iPhone closed system Apple thing where they're cultivating the entire experience, and they don't really want you to change it because it's not really made for the people who want to be changing it. It's just people who want something that's boring, that just works, and you don't have to worry about it. And if the more you tinker with something, the more you introduce errors that could happen and bugs and things, and it's really difficult to diagnose and fix the problem from a warranty perspective or from a firmware update, because you don't know what firmware this person's on. You don't know what happened already with the machine to alter it, so it could cause all these errors.
Especially like open source software as well. That's like a whole other ballgame. That effectively you've written your own codes,
right? And
that print is operating not as intended, effectively.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The community, the 3D printing community, has been open source for so long that that's what they're accustomed to. But there's Bamboo's growing at such a huge pace right now, and that's because they're making it accessible to everyone. So they're trying to get more people into the fold of 3D printing, and those people just don't want to tinker. They just want buy something and it just works. And then there's there's the professionals who just want something industrial, reliable, and works, and because that's your money source. You don't want to have any downtime because that's lost revenue. And print farms are, they're going to start transitioning more, and other printer companies are going to have to, face the music and try to compete with that.
So the thing that I've sort of like very much noticed with the 3D printing game, because I mean, I've been designing, printing my own sort of like tools, if you like sander holders, and many people do it. Don't get me wrong.
I love those.
Not a lot of my stuff. There's nothing about. Well, I've got a few items that no one else does at all in the world at the minute.
That's good.
But the thing is, it could be very soon that someone like yourself could see what I've done. You could quite easily draw that up in a CAD and do it yourself.
Right.
There's no way that it can't be. I'd say copied, but there's no way it can't be copied if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the problem with, so that's one side of it. But the problem with, I feel that, and it's not just me. There's a lot of us in the in the 3D world, so to speak. That unfortunately, Bamboo, while the printer is amazing, and I'm looking forward to. I don't think it'll be long till I have to get a second and third one, to be honest, because production is, even that's 3 times faster than the Ender. It's on 24 hours. I can't keep up with what I want to do because everything. So I need another one now, potentially. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a good thing.
Yeah. But unfortunately, though, it also means that every Tom, Dick, and Harry can go out and spend $600, £700, whatever they are, because I've got the P1S. I've got, and they can effectively do exactly what we've all been doing for years, because they've made it so easy for everyone to do now.
Yeah.
So it has got its downfalls about it being so good.
Well,
well,
so I think
from a professional point of view.
well, from a professional point of view, right? So I agree with you, right? Anybody could go and they could print something.
Yes.
But the thing is, as someone who is actually creating files like you, right? You have unique models, right? So people, even though they have the printer, they can't. They could buy a printer, but they still have to learn to design, right?
Yes.
And that in itself is not easy. You know, if you dedicate the time to it, you can learn to do it. But there's a lot of sweat that you have to put into it to build the very simple thing that you've made, right? And the same thing with me. Like if I see a design you made, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I could make it. But at the same time, it's like if you are selling the design, not just the product. If you are selling the digital file for like $2, $3, whatever. You've already done the work, right? If you sold 10 of them, you've already made your labor into it, right? So every digital file on top of that, even if it's $2, $3, right? It's worth money to you. And I'm not saying that's what you should sell it for. I'm saying you could sell it for 20, right?
The principle of the matter, yes.
Right, but the thing is, depending on the difficulty of it, right? If it took you like a month to design this thing and prototype it, and if you knew someone sat down and they even saw it and made it, would take them a week to make it, and you sold it for $20, like as a person like me that could make it, I would be like, well, that saves me a ton of time. I will still buy that digital file.
It's worth it because you're not spending that 10 hours or however many hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you could be earning however many dollars an hour that it is you charge effectively.
Right. So I mean, I you know, time is money for me. Like I don't have like someone already designed this, did the legwork. I'll be happy to support it if the price is right. But if it's like, you know, $1,000 for that file design and I have free time like 2 hours every night for the next like week, I'll do it. I'll design it for myself because that, you know, the price doesn't make sense, the return, right? Yeah. So you know, I think if as woodworkers, as makers, like we have this unique perspective of seeing what is missing in our industry, and that goes for any maker in any niche, right? With a 3D printer too, it's like a new product comes out. Well, this product is great; it does all these things, but it would be great if it had this accessory, right?
Yes.
You have the ability to create that on the spot that no one else is thinking about, and sharing that and making it. And I think that is a thing that will constantly keep happening. Like there won't be a point where no products are going to come out, no needs are going to be are there, no needs are not going to be there. So you're always going to find something in a product to make, and you just have to be in it. You know, you just have to keep doing what you're doing, finding the need and making the product, and you'll keep selling things. I don't think that's going to change. You know, I think it's the hard part is if you don't know how to design and you go on Etsy and you're trying to buy this one holder that everyone found on Thingiverse or Printables and everyone's printing it, everyone's selling it. And it's just like, you're not going to stand out because that 3D model is free. It's up there. You know, you're just selling it to people who don't have a printer. And then there's 17 other guys who are selling the exact same thing. So it has to be unique. And that's where I think, you know, as a 3D printing business, you're gonna actually make money is selling the unique item. Like I don't know if you know Dream Nation. He sells the miter saw vacuum shrouds that go in the back.
Yes, all the different shrouds, and he was an engineer, wasn't he? He's got into the 3D game. He makes them for all the saws, all the ports,
and they're incredibly effective at pulling the dust in, and other people have copied his designs since, but they're different. But I mean, he is doing extremely well selling just that, right? But he spent a lot of R&D into doing it, and he has a huge farm, and he just cranks out selling those things. And that's the thing, is that you can find that really unique design that is also difficult to model and research. And I mean, if you do a holder on like a tool on a French cleat, you know, there's so many various ways you could do that, right? But if you find something that's more niche, more difficult, more critical, you know, it's going to be harder for people to actually design it because it's not so simple.
I mean, the thing is, though, people, you see it all the time on some like social media groups or whatever. Oh, I could do that. Well, could you? Well, no, I don't know how to use the CAD software. Okay, so go away and spend 3 weeks learning the CAD software.
Yeah.
Then come back and work out how you're actually going to take So just because you know how to use a CAD software, you've then got to learn how to make practical models that fit into the space you're trying to fit into.
Yeah.
And then you things with the obviously with the dust ports, for example.
Yeah.
You need to understand aerodynamics, airflow, and pressure
Right.
for them to effectively pull out.
Yeah. But
So,
I mean, the people that are like, I could do that, and then start investing their money into buying a 3D printer, investing their time into. I mean, those are my people. You know, like I love people who have the drive to like figure out like all the little steps that they need to take to get to where they need to go to like learn the thing and do it. You know, like those are the people that inspire me because they're just like, you know, they just get up, they just take that first step and they just do it. And anybody could do that. And, you know, it's just that, like you said, it was just like, I could do that. Okay, great. Do it. You know, like, don't just say it. Like, if you can do it, just go do it. Like, you know, prove it to yourself, prove everyone else wrong. You know, like, just, I love those people.
Yeah, so it's not exactly, you know, saying that, well, it's the same with like any woodwork or any hobby, not necessarily just woodworking either.
Yeah.
So I could do that. Well, I mean, I had Dowell on that does all this really fabulous metal work. So he uses all like old scrap metal and forks and knives, and he makes this amazing artwork out of it by welding. Well, I could do that. But what I'd need to do first is learn how to TIG weld first.
Yeah.
And then I could do that. So it's not as straightforward as.
Well, he's the one that does like courses and stuff, right?
There's always potential of where you can get to that point.
Yeah.
But that's where you sort of turn around and go, do you know what? I'd rather spend the $20, $30. I'll just pay for it instead because it's easier this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, when art comes into play, right? Like, because there's logic, and then there's functionality, and there's industrial design. But then when the industrial design becomes art, or like simplicity and really design, right? Then it becomes like aesthetic and like creativity, and that is something that you. So I went to art school, my background, right? So there are people who are very gifted with that, but it's also a skill that can be learned, right? But creativity comes easy to some people, and creativity comes harder to some people. But you know, so there are naturally given talents here, but I mean, or not given, but naturally developed from when you were born, right?
Some things are easy for, as you say, some things are easy for some people. One thing's easy for you might be really hard for me, and vice versa. It's like, we all have our different ways, or like I can make a functional thing, not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not great at getting that creative. I can't do a drawing. I can do drawings on CAD.
Yeah.
It looks like if I do a hand drawing, it looks like a 3-year-old's done it. Do you know what I mean? I can't draw for shit.
Yeah.
Now, you would have thought after being a joiner for 25 years, I should be able to draw.
Yeah.
I can't. So I'll have an idea of what I want a piece of furniture to look like in the head. I can't get that on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But again, I can make a functional piece, but then to make it artistic and creative, I haven't got that little bit of. I haven't got that arty gene in me, if you know what I mean.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need that. Because then the creativity has to be coming to a form and functionality as well as to get the whole package, doesn't it? It's a whole.
So the thing is, so like this is a fun conversation. I love talking about this kind of stuff because there's a lot running through my head right now. I'm gonna try to get this out. So I think we should all play to our strengths, right? And no matter how, like, you could pivot using what you have and get by. And even though, you know, you're not designing something maybe that's more beautiful, but if you build something that's more industrial and something, it becomes beautiful in itself, right? And then but it also, like, what I love about our community is the amount of people that, you know, have these different abilities that we could actually reach out and collaborate with and ask for help and like build on each other's you know, strengths. And that's one aspect. The other aspect is, now that I'm a maker and we live in an amazing time where there's so many different technologies coming out that can help us, like AI. Like, AI could actually help with the design aspect.
About that the other week as well. AI is scary as shit.
Yeah, but I use it for my day job all the time, and then now for making, I actually use it because I don't think I am a creative. I am a creative person, but I don't think when compared to other creatives, I always feel like I'm not as creative. You know, it's just we all feel have our insecurities, right? But I feel like with AI, I could supplement my creativity and get other ideas and mishmash certain things and generate new things. Basically, brainstorming, right? In the past, we would have a think tank, or we brainstorm, or we have a collective of people coming together to come up with ideas. But now you can actually like go have this back and forth exchange with AI and have them throw you images of things that you put in, and then like give them new prompts to change it, and then use that as your blueprint for building something. Because again, like you and I are more technical, maybe, or more like we could build out. If someone gave us the thing, like, okay, this is how I'm going to technically do it to achieve that, right? Because they've designed the thing, or in this case, you've collaborated with AI to make it, right? But that's what I'm saying is, like, you know, we have shortcomings, but we can now use technology to balance things out, to kind of make those shortcomings not a thing, or less of a shortcoming. But you know, and that's the thing with tools too, right? Like, you know, like the Bamboo. Like the Bamboo is a printer that's really easy to use, but if you didn't have all the technical knowledge you needed with Enders to get that print looking really good, you know, you're spending more of that money or buying the better tool that could get you to that end result better. And like, you know, I see you have lots of Festool. I love Festool tools too, and that's what Festool is, that its tools are expensive, but you basically with tools you spend more and you can require less skill because you'll achieve a better result to get your tool, to get something
to a point, yeah.
To a point, yeah. Like let's say the domino, for example, right? That domino can achieve joinery that is a lot easier and a lot quicker and stronger than some old school hand mortising and tenoning.
Effectively, the domino was like the first upgrade to the biscuit jointer.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
but even the biscuit joiner itself is an incredible tool and innovation from what it was before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To me, like it's just like because you obviously used to like do the old dowels by hand,
right?
And if you're marking slightly out by a millimeter, your piece is out, isn't it, by a load, or the pins don't line up. And as you say, that's something like where the domino comes in, because you're paying for that accuracy.
Yeah, and that's the skill gap, right? That I'm trying to say is that, you know, the cheaper tools, you need more skill to get it to look better and more accurate, and you're gonna have to learn that, and then that's what you're compensating with a more expensive tool to help with eliminating the user error and the skill that you would have to learn to do it. And that's why I kind of like hand tools, because hand tools is, you know, still has that hand making feel to it all, and you're stepping back, you're learning a skill, but sometimes there's just those imperfections that a human hand has at it. But it, you know, technology is helping us do all these crazy things that we can do today. So it's a really fun time to be a maker. You know, like all these once industrial tools are now accessible to us. Like you said, like, you know, the 3D printer was, you know,
laser cutters. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I know that the new X tool is still like £4,000 or something like that. You know, it's expensive to a point.
Right.
But then saying that, not being funny, but is it expensive? Because, do you know what I mean? I mean,
well,
I'll quite happily go and spend £1,000 on a track saw. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
If you're going to go and buy a shop saw, like a table saw,
you're
looking at a few £1,000, dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the Shaper Origin, which is a handheld CNC, at 4,000, sorry. So the thing is, because it allows you to do so much more.
Right.
Is it expensive though? I don't think it is.
Yeah. I mean, once you could pay for it if you do use it to sell things. You know, you can make ornaments, cutouts of stuff. You know, like just engraving almost anything and personalizing it. Now that's, you know, if you were a cutting board maker and personalizing it to sell, that's an extra thing you could add now to your products and services. You know, and
because I mean, a CNC, you were talking tens and tens of thousands.
Right.
Going back 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to be super rich to get a CNC.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that we had available to, you know, the general makers, woodworkers.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call, you know, crafters, woodworkers. I mean, you can go and pick up a couple $100 laser cutter.
Yeah.
For doing some of the smaller, you know, 3/8 quarter-inch ply.
Yeah.
8-inch ply stuff. And it's like that was unheard of. You couldn't do that before.
I mean, yeah, 20, 30 years ago, when you see, people with 3D carvings of things, you think it's a huge like a huge business, woodworking business that made it. Now you see it. It's just like, it's a guy in his garage made this incredibly intricate, beautiful piece of art hanging in like a museum or something. You're just like, this guy just made it in his garage. It's pretty incredible.
They just knocked it up because the thing is, as you say, it's because technology has literally come on that far that we have an amazing array of stuff available to us, and it's not just that. Like you say, it's the resources. Like where I mean, you said AI obviously, but the resource of social media. So like you just reach out to people, you talk to people, and then someone could contact you. How do you think I could do this? And we all help each other because at the end of the day, it's not. I mean, I've got a long list of people that come to me like every day, several times a day to ask me little questions, no matter what it is. Or even what have you. And I'll reply to them because, you're helping someone or whatever. And it takes 20 seconds to reply to someone. I mean, I love the thing today. One of my mates now that I met through social media, actually. And he's a hobbyist woodworker. And we've got talking over the last, I don't know, couple of months, say. And he's always asking about stuff like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I'll put him into a direction to one of my YouTube videos, maybe if I've done a YouTube video on it or whatever. Or I'll do a little quick video for him in the workshop. Or this is how you do this. I mean, totally unexpected today. A very nice posh bottle of vodka turned up on the doorstep for him. And it's like...
Yeah, that's nice.
Why? You didn't need to do that. Do you know what I mean? But it's just nice that, you've got that thing where you can reach out to people on social media and you can get the help. Or you see about, the other thing is about collabs, which something I did want to talk about today, because obviously we had Luke on.
Yeah.
And you did the Makers Collab, which is something that you have teams of you, don't you, every year?
Yeah. So that's actually how I met Luke. So I think it was 3 years ago. We had just started. We got into a group chat together. Someone brought him in, and we just immediately hit it off. He loves Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I believe you like Star Wars. It's pretty easy to like Star Wars. But we just talked, and then within like 2 weeks, this project was announced. He was like, "Hey, do you want to commit to building this project with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just hit it off. It was a fun project, and then now every year we've done that collab. Every year we've lost, but we do win the popular vote, I guess. But yeah, Luke is a great funny guy. We click really well, and that's like you said, the social media aspect of making like this community we have is really, really special. In that we can just reach out to people, and I feel like we're all part of this like brother sisterhood of makers, and we've all been through the steps of starting somewhere and trying to figure out things in the process of making, and we've all been pushing ourselves to try new things and things that we haven't done because we want to grow as makers, and we want to try to do those things that other people are doing, and we are all helping. I mean, I think the majority of us are helping. The ones that are on social media are helping. I think there are those very, very stubborn, old school tradesmen that are like, I suffered through this to learn this, so I'm not telling anybody anything. Those guys are out there too. But I think the people on social media who are sharing, so we help each other, and we find friendships. And I know that when I started this, that was always my goal, and I've met friends for life now, and yeah, collaboration is I think the greatest thing that you can do for yourself to grow online as well, but also as a maker too, to just get out there and be social. Even the most introverted people, makers I know, are getting out there and
well, I mean, outside of social media, I don't do an awful lot. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a particularly sociable person at all. It's only the social media, like this sort of thing, where it's almost like a bit of a lifeline to the outside world, if you like.
Yeah.
Doing the podcast and so it's great because I mean, with the podcast and with the social media, I say with social media, mainly Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's definitely my preferred method of contact and use, because Instagram is very much professional to professional to a point. It's not really something that a client gets involved with. You do to a point, but 90% of the time it's all it is professional to professional people, and it's great because I talk to people all over the world, and it's bizarre that you're in New York, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're 3,000 mile away to 4,000, whatever. However, I don't know how far it is actually, but it's a long way.
Yeah.
It's a decent flight, and it's just great because you just sort of everyone helps each other. Once you're getting at the collabs, one thing that I find hilarious. So one of the options, or one of the things that Bamboos can do, because obviously the Wi-Fi compatible, you can actually access, if you have the access code. I could access your Bamboo printer now, couldn't I? Quite easily.
Yeah. That was my. You've seen those reels, I assume that's why.
Yeah. As I was saying, because it's quite funny. So for those that don't know, so what happened was, like Dave or indeed Luke, what you do is you get a bit of brown paper or something, you cover up your printer so you can't see what's going on, and then you allow the other person to send a file to your printer and let them print it.
Yeah.
So you can do this from the other side of the world, and God help what gets printed sometimes. You know what I mean? Because you could print whatever, and the person's got no control on it.
It's going to be a penis.
Yeah, absolutely. You know it is. But and especially when you've got friends like Luke. One thing I would advise people for sure: never let Luke have your Bamboo code.
Well, so he had my Bamboo code, and he actually didn't print a penis, and I actually gave it to Patrick Genzel. He's another friend of mine. He almost pretty much printed a penis. He printed a Jar Jar Binks Buddha statue, which I consider a penis anyway. But Luke also printed a gigantic. Actually, I won't even tell. I won't tell you guys. You guys go look at it. But it's a fun.
If you want to go and see it, go to Dave. Like in the description for everyone. I will leave the pages for Dave's pages down below. But it's a fun. It was a 3D DIY Dave. Put a couple of underscores in between on his Instagram. Go check out these reels because they are quite funny. Because obviously I know what they are.
It's a fun idea, and I was hoping more people would do it, but a lot of people are like, I don't trust my friends. I wouldn't trust them to do that.
I think it's just ingenious about how you can do that. That's the other thing that I love about it. Again, it's not something I use, but the idea for me is the fact of the with the enders. The problem with the enders was that they always needed a quick tweak in between print by taking the plate off, and you have to tweak the bed just by a tenth of a turn or something every time, just to make sure it's perfect or whatever. The Bamboos, you whip it out, boom. And I've not had to do it yet, but the idea was because the printer's always going.
Yeah.
I was like, I said to the missus, well, just take the plate off like this. You click the print off because I got the PII plate.
Yeah.
And you flick off the print, you put it back in, you close the door, and that's it. That's all you need to do for me.
Yeah.
You can remote access and print from anywhere as long as you got the colours in your printer or your AMS unit or whatever you've got.
3D printing has come such a long way that that's why the Maker World Bamboo Labs slicing program works so well, because you could just send stuff from your web, like from the browser or from your iPhone, right to the printer, and those are profiles other people have made, right? But the printers are so consistent. And the filament and everything has gotten so good, even third-party stuff, that just generic profiles used to work. But, come 7 years ago, filaments weren't always so consistent, and or ender to enders weren't really consistent. No. So your PLA temperature might print 5-6 degrees hotter than someone else's temperature. So it was just the idea of sending a file to somebody, even if it's just a G code to print it on their printer, might not come out exactly the same way. And that's kind of just progress. 3D printing is
that's it, because the thing is the settings on the Bamboo in their slicer. I'm actually editing a couple of the videos at the minute about the calibration and how to get the most out of your filaments and that sort. I'm in the process of editing all them at the minute. But I did the little temperature towers, and even when you run them at the stock generic PLA or generic PET G ones, whatever, bamboo slice you've got in there,
Yeah.
it's printed really well. I mean, I a couple of them I've changed by 5 degrees.
Yeah.
Because it was slightly better on a different thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
as you say, that just shows you that I could send a file to your printer and it would print almost flawlessly.
Yeah.
Straight
I
off
mean,
the bat.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's always perfect, but you don't need to mess with it. Is basically the thing. You could probably, if you're trying to go with something really particular and you want to fix something, you could definitely tweak stuff for sure. But for the most part, the majority of people, 90% of the time, you do not have to do any kind of changes to your slicer.
I mean, I've literally only just started doing it recently because trying to because I'm getting more and more into the printing, and I was like, I've been doing some videos on the bamboo because the videos I found, to be honest, they were fine, but they had no audio. So I didn't know, they were moving the mouse around so fast, I didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I've gone in and done these videos, and I've done them with audio.
Nice.
And they're doing really, really, they're performing pretty well.
Good.
I mean, it's not even what I was aiming for my channel originally, but they're doing, they're doing well and what have you.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start learning more about the printer and about the temp towers and the retractions and all that, because when you're selling prints to people, the prints need to be that little bit better.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm printing, a bit of, like a little crappy phone holder for myself.
Yeah.
From a desk. Or what a pot that I've got, or whatever, for my pens and pencils, or.
I mean, I just made this last night. Is a glove box holder that I want to mount to my wall, because
good idea.
For a while, it's just been sitting in my closet, so now I'm just gonna have it so I could just grab it, so I don't have to open a door every time I need it.
See, that's it, because it's just so handy. I mean, that's the reason I got a 3D printer originally.
Yeah.
Was because, in fact, there was a certain part that I wanted. That just wasn't available. There was no such thing available. So I literally bought me ender, designed the thing, and printed them.
Yeah.
So I had what I needed.
That's my favorite part of 3D printing.
What I did. And the thing is, now there's been so many things. Yes, I do print some. I see stuff like, say, your page or this page, like, do you know the other thing? I just like printing one of the little annoying gift box things.
Yeah.
So I feel like the card version of the big present that Luke did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do see things like yourself. You'll see things, and you're like, "Oh, that's really cool. I want to print that," just because it's fun to print it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I am more of I like the functional prints, but I think the internet likes, the weird knickknacks and toys.
I've done this like a little cotton bud crossbow fine cotton buds at the minute.
Toothpicks.
It's just fun. A bit of stupidness, but it's just so handy to have the 3D printer. Like, you break something.
Yeah.
Like, I kept losing the knob. The knob for me, Craig, little multi-bot, kept going. I was like, fuck. Gotta buy a brand new Craig at 30 quid to get this deal. No, I don't. I just need to spend 20 minutes in CAD.
Yeah.
And I'll make one.
What I mean, so two things. One, I like looking at, like, even those toys and things. I like seeing the model, and I like seeing how people designed it. Right, because I'm learning, like, how to design. So I see how, like, the mechanisms, how thick something is, so to see how it bends, and then the thing about 3D printing and the modeling and stuff is that whenever I have a need, like this glove box thing, right, I'm like, okay, I can model it. It's super simple. It's a box with some cutouts. But then I start searching first. And I'm like, wow, that's a really good design. Like, someone shared that online for free. The only thing that they didn't have was some holes here. So I just brought it, downloaded it, brought it into Fusion, put in some holes, and that was it. And that's the amazing part, is, like, that's going to just get better and better, and more people are going to share and share. And that, like, almost everything you need, search it first. If someone didn't make it, there's always that moment of surprise, like, wow, I can't believe it's not on these 3 sites. And then you get to making it. And then you share it, and it's
there's that side. But obviously, for those that do want to sell items, do not download off one of the free sites and then start selling, because that's not a commercial license, and it is actually IP. Theft.
Yeah.
Unless if you do it for yourself, it's absolutely fine. Because like many of us, I've got things that I print for myself.
Yeah.
Printables, Maker's Worlds. I'm just letting people know you can't just.
You have to very closely look at the licensing on the download page, because there are some models that people have that say no commercial You can't sell it. Or people are like, it's free use, commercial, whatever, you can go for it. But what a lot of people are doing now is like makers online have Patreon sites that you pay them, they send you the model, and you can sell it. So if it ever happens that you want to commercially sell it and it doesn't, it says you can't, you could always reach out to the creator of it and say, hey, I want to sell this. Yeah. And just be like, have that conversation. And if they're like, sure, go for it, you had permission. Or if they're like, you can, if you pay me like $5 or something, and then, you know, do whatever you have to negotiate to do it, or just design your own things. You know, that's really the best thing as a maker is.
Well, that's it, because I mean, like the Sanders holders, for example, there's 20 of them on Thingiverse, but I just spent 20 minutes making my own in SketchUp.
And also learning to make it is going to be more beneficial for you because you'll be able to, you know,
do so much more.
You want. Yeah, you'll get so much out of it.
Right, we've hit our time for today. So again, everybody, please leave me a review. Spotify, Amazon, Apple, wherever it is you listen, leave me a review. Once we get to 500, I shall do a nice worldwide giveaway for you all. I would like to thank you, Dave, for joining us on this. As normal, the time goes far too quick when you start talking, doesn't it? All of Dave's links will be in the description down below. So please go and check out his social media. Give him a like, a follow, any way you can, please. Any last things to just say, Dave?
Thanks for having me on here. I love talking to you. And, you know, it was really nice to meet you in person, or, you know, through talking with you, and just for everyone else out there, you know, like, go out there and make stuff, do what you want to do, you know, believe in what you can do, and have a good time doing it.
Okay. All right, everyone, thank you very much, and we shall catch you next week.